What's going on YouTube? This is Jabber Tech, and if you're looking to upgrade your dash cam status, if you're looking to get rid of those window shield mounted dash cams that really look out of place, or the strap-ons, this is the way to do it. You really want an OEM style dash cam, and this is the Auto-Vox V5 Pro. It'll run you about $299. It's a premium dash cam, dual 1080p recording, but let's just go ahead, unbox it, and see what it's all about. Couple things I want to mention as we unbox it. This is a dual 1080 dash cam, so in the front and in the rear it's going to record at 1080. You have a 9.3 inch laminated touchscreen, and that's what makes this a little bit better than some other dash cams out there. It'll reduce the glare, and it'll also reduce that high beam light at night. This does have GPS built in, parking monitor as well. It also comes with the hardware kit, so you don't need to buy anything separate. The sensor in here is the Sony IMX307, and you do get guidelines for that rear camera, so that's definitely a huge plus. If you hardwire this to your reverse lights, the minute you swap it into reverse, those lines are going to come on, but if not, you can just double tap the screen to activate the rear camera, and you'll be good to go. It also has a max 64 gigabytes for the storage. You get 145 degrees in the front and 150 in the rear, so you're definitely going to see the road in front and behind you on this dash cam. Because this is an OEM style dash cam and it will replace your existing rear view mirror, they provide you some hardware, and they say this will fit about 90% of the vehicles. If you have any issue, they told me you should just reach out to them and they'll be able to send you the correct hardware if they're able to do so. But taking a look at what they provide us, they do give us the hardwire kit. So here's the fuse connectors that you're going to need to install this in your car. So you will have to find your fuse box and just appropriately put this in the correct fuse. Just check your manual because every car is different. Taking a look at the rear view camera here, they also provide you an extra mounting bracket, so you can really figure out a way that you want to install this without too much fuss, without too much muss, whether that's inside the car or outside the car. Of course, here's your GPS module. You get quite a bit of cable for that rear view camera. I believe this is about 18 feet. What I like about the Auto-Vox OEM style dash cam is instead of having all of your wires sticking out from the top, one for your power, one for your rear view, one for your GPS, they give you one cable. Once you hide these wires, wherever you're going to hide them, whether it's in the pillar or wherever, then you go ahead and you connect the GPS module right here. You connect the main mirror, and then you also connect the rear camera. So I like this because it is one wire instead of multiple wires. And just taking a look at the back of the camera here, you see that this is how you'll attach it to your actual mirror in your car. My initial thoughts of this dash cam is that this is a very premium feeling dash cam. You don't have to worry about vibrations and whatnot because this feels pretty sturdy. It's already built into the camera itself, so that eliminates the extra vibrations that you'd get from having another type of bracket here that you'd install first and then install it to the actual camera. But one thing that I noticed right off the bat, guys, is they place the camera on the wrong side. At least here in the US, most cameras have the actual sensor, actual lens on the left side, because when you're in your car, we tend to tilt it a little bit more towards us because this is how we drive, versus the right-hand drivers where they would tilt the mirror a little bit this way. So I think they kind of maybe cut a corner to make one style dash cam for the entire world, but we'll see how the quality is. What I like about the V5 Pro is that it looks very OEM-ish. It looks like it could have came straight from the factory. I also like the little attention to detail by hiding all the ports, hiding that micro SD card port right underneath here. So let's just go ahead and take a look at what's under here. Underneath this little flap, this is where you put your micro SD card. You also have a mini USB. Now we have to go into the car. I do have to set this up because this port doesn't take power and there's no other way to kind of connect this, so I can show you the features while we're at my office. Let's go ahead, check it out together in the car, and we're going to talk more about the V5 Pro. So just to take a look at the camera itself, now that we have it all hooked up, I think it looks really nice. Again, gives you that OEM look with one single wire at the top, and that's really it. Once you hide all of these wires, it's a really nice install. Makes it look like it came straight from the factory. But let's take a look at some of the settings. Now, this is what it'll look like if you have split screen. So you have the rear and you have the front. You can, of course, switch between them if you want to. Just show the front or just show the rear. What I like about this camera as well is if you do hook up the rear camera to your backup lights, this will turn on automatically. But what I also like about it as well is you have these guidelines that you can set, and you can really set up for your car. So once you go ahead and install the rear view camera, you can adjust these guidelines pretty much any which way that you want, just to make it seem, again, more like factory. Every time you pop it into reverse, you'll be able to see these guidelines. And you can also just see different angles with that rear camera if you want to, swiping up or swiping down. Again, giving you the best possible angle. So what I like about this camera as well, you can switch to the front view when you're driving, but after about 30 seconds or so, it will go back to the reverse camera, just like that. This way you kind of eliminate that false positive where you look at an image and you think it's the rear, but it's actually in the front. So I like that. I definitely like that ability, but you can leave the split screen on all the time. And being a left-hand drive country, I like the fact that the rear camera is shown on the left side and the front is on the right side. Of course, you can see you have your time and your date right over there. Some other settings, you have a microphone button to turn off the audio if you want. You can press the play button, and then this way you can see any file that you've already recorded with the audio. So if you want to check out something really quickly, you can go ahead and do so. You can also see any emergency files that you had, or if you've taken any snapshots, you can go ahead and take a look at them and just take a look at how clear these snapshots are. A very clear rear camera, super clear indeed. And speaking of the camera, this is where you can take a snapshot as you're driving. You can also lock the current file. If something's going on and you want to make sure that the video doesn't get erased, you can go ahead and lock it. But now let's just take a look at some of the settings that we have here. So we do have some options for the resolution, and you can change it to 720 if that's your thing. Movie clip time, 1 minute all the way to 5. Sound recording, again, on or off. Here's those reverse lines for that rear view camera. If you like them, enable them. If you don't, turn them off. Driving mode, I'll show you in a second. I think that's actually pretty cool. Driving mode will show you a compass and your current speed. Parking monitor is the sensitivity level of your, well, parking monitor. You can turn it off completely if you want. Have it on high, middle, or low. I usually like to leave mine on middle or low just because I don't want a lot of false positives. I don't want anything to really trigger it. So again, that's a customizable setting that you have here. LCD power save will turn off the camera automatically at a specific time if you don't have driving mode enabled. Again, here's some more settings for your protection level, high, middle, or low. Speed limit, miles per hour or kilometers. You can sync your time with GPS or you can set it manually. There's that automatic rear camera, so if you want it to turn on automatically when you put your car in reverse, if you hooked it up properly, you can enable or disable. And that's basically it when it comes to the overall settings of the device. Now for driving mode, this is what driving mode is going to look like. You can just hold on the screen and it's going to activate driving mode. So it'll show you your speed and it'll show you your compass. I actually like this. I kind of like the ability just to glance over and look at my speed and whatnot. You can still see what's behind you thanks to this really nice laminated screen. That's one of the things that I really like about this camera. The screen quality is excellent. The mirror quality is really excellent. If you don't want to show this, of course, you can show your video feed or you can have the screen completely blank. As we check out the video quality of the Auto-Vox dash cam, there's a couple things I want to mention. Again, this is a $300 dash cam, so I am being a little bit more on the pickier side than I would if it was at about $150. If it was half the price, maybe I wouldn't have mentioned this as a con. The laminated mirror is one of the best I've seen on a dash cam, and I reviewed a bunch of dash cams. I was able to see behind me clearly in just about any condition, whether it was sunny or nighttime, and it did block a lot of the glare from the brights from people driving behind me with their high beams. But a couple things I want to mention, there's a couple things, again, at 300 bucks, this is a little pricey, is the driving mode. I think it's really cool. I like being able to see my miles per hour, but I think the compass is too big. I would have liked to have seen an option to turn off the compass, or just maybe make it a little bit smaller because it's just a little bit too large. It takes up the entire screen for really no reason. Maybe in the corner they could have just put a little moniker showing you south, northwest, northeast, etc., etc. And I also think the brightness was a little bit too bright while driving in absolute darkness. After midnight, when it's super dark around, that brightness level of the driving mode showing you the miles per hour in the compass is just a little bit too bright for my liking. Now, I don't know if Auto-Vox can release firmware updates, but at 300 bucks, I think they should release a firmware update, especially if you take a look at the miles per hour. When you are driving, the P actually gets cut off, and it looks like MOH instead of MPH. So again, at 300 bucks, I think that's a little bit unacceptable. But there's one thing I do want to say. Again, the mirror is excellent. That laminated screen is definitely excellent. You can see a lot behind you, and it's very clear. So you get what you pay for, and it's a nice clean OEM look. It's a stock look. It's well made. The vibration, again, is minimal to none. In terms of video quality, you see it for yourself. I think it's a clear lens. It does a really nice job. This was the Auto-Vox V5 Pro, and it gives you that OEM look, and they do a great job with that OEM look. I would like to see an updated model that gives us 4K and maybe gives us a little bit more options and fixes some of the bugs that I mentioned. But I think it's a nice camera. If you're looking for that OEM style, you can't go wrong with this. If it fits in your budget Again, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.
But that's where we are, especially after their history with cable companies. Like, Google TV was laid low. Before they had their IR blaster Google TV, they wanted to, like, make cable boxes. They were trying to just get in with all the cable companies, and they got rebuffed. And they're like, well, what if we made IR blasters that worked around all of you? What if Sony made the world's